Welcome to the Along the Way podcast, your place to become an equipped and encouraged parent so you can experience God's absolute best for your family.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Along the Way podcast. My name is Tim, and I'm here with Bruce Roberts, our next generation pastor here at Bell Shoals. What's up, Bruce?
What is going on?
Hey, I personally am very excited for Christmas. You know, we're getting to that time of year.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Oh man,
You didn't know I had those vocals, did you?
I did not. Well, I mean, you know, when you pod as well as you do, it's kind of to be expected.
I like what you did there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So let me ask you, where are you guys at with Christmas decorations? Is the tree up? Are there lights on the house? Christmas wreaths around? Where you at?
the tree is up.
Okay.
The tree is up. The tree came up a little earlier than I would have liked.
Okay.
I'm one who likes to wait until after Thanksgiving to put up
Yep.
the tree and stuff like
I'll
that.
join you there.
But we had some time off, so it went up Tuesday instead of Friday.
Okay.
So
Couple days.
a couple of days. But the tree is up. The tree's a big deal to me.
Mm-hmm.
The tree's a big deal. And this, you know what, I remember a couple years ago, Andrea put up the tree when I was at work, and the tree looked awesome. But it started a little bit of a tiff in the home because I missed it.
Oh, yeah.
I missed it. You know, so in my mind, I'm like, this is part of the memories of Christmas. This is part of this is memory making here, and the tree's up, and I was nowhere to be found. So anyway.
Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah. It's interesting. I feel like in our family, we're still trying to figure out just what that tradition is. You know, for a couple of years, it was, okay, I'm going to take my oldest son, like, we're going to go pick out the tree. But then one year, my wife picked out the tree. And now that, you know, with young kids, we've got we don't have the real tree this year, which was a point of discussion. We do have an artificial tree, but it's still beautiful.
We're artificial.
Yeah.
We're artificial.
Yeah.
Pre-lit.
Ooh. Even the next step.
That's right.
Wow.
So that's what we do.
Efficiency at its finest. So, you know, Christmas is often said to be the most wonderful time of the year. And we talk about things like putting up the tree and all these things that we can do to celebrate even a little bit early. But it also can be quite stressful. And so I know for me, I'm thinking about what gifts am I going to give my kids, and is it going to be what they want? Not that I want to spoil my kids, but, you know, I like making my kids happy. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But where, as parents, how do we win at Christmas? Like, where should the expectation be for, man, when I get past Christmas, if I want it to be a win for our family, here's what I'll have done to make that happen.
Yeah. So one, you want to frame it right. You know, I think that you have to make Christmas about Jesus. I think we all have to start there. We have to start there. When you think about that first Christmas, because there were expectations different than ours for a lot of time period. And then you had 400 years of silence. You know, they were expecting like all of these promises to be fulfilled. Like all of these pictures that are painted in the Old Testament that are pointing forward. All of the people that were types of Christ. All of these things were pointing forward, prophecies, all that stuff. And then Christmas happens. The birth of Jesus, like God himself coming in flesh. Wow. The hope of the world, the Savior of the world, coming in such a miraculous and lowly state. I mean, how do you improve upon the story? You know what I mean? How do you improve upon that? So I think, first of all, for us as parents, I think we just have to back up and be amazed and in awe and in wonder of Christmas again. And I think that'll lighten up a lot of stuff. And that'll help kind of give us a perspective on, like, what are we going to really be about this year? What are we going to focus on? Because when Jesus isn't at the center of what we're doing, when the point of Christmas is not the point, then I think that we allow a lot of room for other stuff to creep in, and a hectic season of preparation can become that much more hectic. Now, here's the deal. Preparation takes time and energy. And I don't think there's anything bad about being busy and really trying to create something. But at the same time, you don't want it to start squeezing out the very joy that came into the world, and now you don't have it. And Christ came in the world to give us hope, and we don't even have our eyes fixed on that. And instead of loving people well, we're not all these things I think are there for us to lean in and really to reflect and enjoy the person of Christ. So I think we just got to get our minds right there first.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's easy when you have parties and events and checklists of things you have to do to miss that and to kind of forget about that and make sure, we've talked so much in this podcast about setting patterns.
That's right.
And when our kids see the stress that we have going on, when they don't see the joy of the celebration of Christ coming, what does that say to them? And one of those challenges I think parents can face too is the whole gifts battle. Is there such a thing as too many gifts? What is the approach to gifts? And do I have to make sure that the gifts are equal? How do you feel about gifts? What's your approach to that? And then, I would also say, how do you balance the whole gift thing versus experiences?
Yeah. So we're trying to figure that out on some level. We all have these things called budgets, right? And I'm the guy that I can go off the rails pretty easy with the Christmas budget.
Yeah.
We get a plan together. We know this is kind of the general area of money we want to be at, and then Dad can get dumb real quick. I mean, I can get.
I'm right there with you.
I can. So we all have different budgets. We all have different ways that we can kind of lean into some things. But I think primarily, I want to focus on the relationship aspect of things.
Yeah.
Christmas is about, it's about family. I mean, that's why I think we go, great lengths in trying to make memories. And that's why we're going through all the preparations. And that's why we have these traditions and all of these kinds of things, because we're trying to create something. We feel like something should be happening during this time of year that is special.
Yeah.
And we want it to be special. And I think that's right, because it is a special time of year. So I think that whatever people are doing, don't make that the point, right? Make that the thing that helps cultivate and point to the point of like everything that we're doing. God came to be with us, right? He became a human being so that we could be reconciled to him, so that we could have peace and so that we can have a relationship with him. So Christmas is a time where I think we pull in and we all center around the most important pieces of Christmas, and our tradition should help draw us in. Anything that you're doing, help draw us in. So with gift giving, it's just a means of building relationships, continuing relationships. The reason why we can give a lot of the gifts that we give is because it's by way of relationship. What makes it special is not only what you're getting, but who is giving it to you. That's part of like our, you may not remember some of the gifts growing up as a kid. Do you remember a lot of?
I don't actually know. And it's funny as a dad thinking about how much emphasis I put on, oh man, what am I going to get that they're going to really want?
That's right.
And I don't remember any of the gifts that I got as a kid.
So I don't remember. I remember an Army truck. I remember an Army truck when I was under 6. And I remember when I was maybe 3rd or 4th grade, Castle Grayskull, He-Man, and Skeletor.
Oh.
So it's huge. Okay,
That's
so,
legit.
yeah. So, but those are the only toys or anything that I remember, okay? But I remember a lot of the games we played.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the living room we were in. I remember putting up the tree. And that's why it's a kind of a big deal to me. I remember a lot of those experiences. That's what I remember. And that's almost what I'm trying to always get back to. Maybe I'm sounding kind of nostalgic, but that's what I'm always trying to get back to, because those were the things that we were enjoying, that we were doing together. Mm-hmm. So whatever you're doing, make it about the relationships. Make it about your family, and all the things that you're drawing into. I've spent a lot of time just ripping off of families, and one template I think that we've used over the years in terms of gift giving is, something that they want, something that they need, something that they can wear, something that they can read.
Yeah, we do that as well. Yep.
All right. So there was a family that we were really close to, and that was kind of a general template that they they went by. And it doesn't mean that we only give 4 gifts or not. And 4 gifts are a lot of gifts if you're, but we try to stay in that world, if you will. And look, they're going to be excited about some over others, and that's part of being a human being and part of being a kid. But at the same time, we're also just trying to cultivate, hey, we've thought about you, and these fit you, and help to cultivate gratitude with our kids with the gift giving process. So not only with what they're receiving, but also with what they're giving. So we give them a chance to shop or to get something for other people.
Oh, nice.
So, and just as much as we can, we just try to steer their hearts and their minds where it's not just fixed on themselves.
Yeah.
And again, we have to do that too. We have to do that too. It's not just a kid thing. I think it's a human being thing. So, I just think with gift giving practices, that's kind of how we roll. I try to go big during Christmas on one thing. I do. And what big might be maybe different for other people, but something that we're not just going to go during the week, any other time during the year, and go to the store. It's like, oh, let's pick up that. No, it's going to mean something, and that's part of how we lean into Christmas, and I want to make it memorable. But this year we're going to get a couple of things that are going to be gifts that can kind of keep on giving. I can't say it on here because someone
spoiler.
Yeah, someone else spoil. But it's something that we're going to be able to do with each other that the whole family can enjoy, but that for the kids they're going to really want.
Yep.
So they're going to think, hey, I got what I wanted, and you did, but we all are kind of going to get what we want because it's going to be something that we all can do together as well. So it's going to be good.
Well, we talked earlier about the tree, and we set ours up after Thanksgiving. It was after Thanksgiving, but that was something we did as a family, and even my nearly 2-year-old now. It was cool because he was kind of involved with that for the first time and putting the star up on the tree. I held him up there, and there's things that already I've got. Almost 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, just all kinds of different ages, but already the things that they remember about Christmas and their favorite things about, oh man, every year, I already know that mom's going to make cinnamon rolls because that's what mom does. Mom does it every year. And I think the beauty of Christmas in our family, like you said, it's those things that establish not only that it's about relationships, but it gives them a joy and an expectation for Christmas is a really celebratory time.
Yeah.
And even if we don't get deep into those conversations of, oh, why we do things like make cinnamon rolls? Well, because we want to show you that Christmas is a time of joy because Jesus came. It doesn't always have to go to that level of conversation. But growing up, I want my kids to know that Christmas is a time of celebration. It is a joyful season. And as they grow in their understanding of God and his word, they'll understand that, man, the reason that mom and dad made such a big deal about not just the day, but the entire season is because the birth of Jesus is the biggest deal that there could ever be.
No, what you're saying is I want it to be special.
Yeah.
It's not a normal day. It's not a regular day. And, we're trying to do some of those things now in preparation, for Christmas. So that on Christmas Day, it's not just like, oh, here it is. And we're trying to cram in the story and we're going to do it all. Like we're just stair-stepping, taking a few days a week to just really train our hearts and get our minds right.
Yeah.
And yes, they're excited about gifts. Yes, they're excited about stuff like that. But to really use that as the tradition builder and turning our hearts and getting our minds right so that we can truly celebrate Christmas.
Yeah.
And then we don't miss it, that we don't miss what Christmas is really all about. And I think that's the job of the parent. I mean, that's just our job. And it's already a fantastic story, a fantastic reality. It's just taking time to be captured by that and to communicate the wonder of that to our kids. Can you believe it's Christmas?
Yeah.
So, and again, when you model that, the kids will catch on. They'll catch on. It should be a fun time and a celebratory time of year for sure.
Now, I'm not even, I'll be honest, I ask a lot of questions in here, sometimes as a dad and sometimes for the sake of the listeners. And this is just me, like dad to dad, because I'm curious. How do you have ways that you're establishing generosity in your kids during this time of Christmas? Are there certain things that you do, whether that's like, hey, this year you're going to buy a gift for your sister, or this year we're going to go get involved in this thing where we can, but, you know, I feel like my kids are young. There is still some of that kind of entitlement that can come with Christmas. Christmas is about me getting gifts.
That's right.
And they're not thinking about what they can do to be generous with others. What are some ways that you guys have kind of helped flip that mindset?
Yeah, well, I don't know if we flipped it. I don't know if we flipped it. But again, I think it's the things that lead up, that are always leading up to that. So you for some strange reason, the old Celine Dion song, "Don't Save It All for Christmas." I actually like that song.
Hey, no shame.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that when we're recording. I don't know if I want a record of that. But it is, to some degree, not just establishing something for, this is when we start giving. This is when we start thinking about the poor. This is when we start thinking about extending mercy to people. It's tracking that along the way, but you know, we allow them to shop for each other.
Okay.
So they actually have to try to, you know, what would Roman like? What would Riley like? And for them to get into the mindset of, okay, I need one. I know my sibling, I know my brother, I know my sister. I can identify with what they want. You know what I mean? And to be able to pick out that gift and to be able to give that. In the future, hopefully they'll be able to do that with their own money. But right now, we, you know, because we're trying to set a pattern with that. But we do some things with like with our church, and then we look at some stuff when it comes to I feel kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie, because I don't want to like be on, you know, virtue signaling and like on our own podcast. Yeah. But you know, we do a little lean towards the poor, and and it's something that we do throughout the year. And then when we're in cars, because you have a lot more people, Salvation Army's kind of jingling, they're out there, and when you see folks out there, for lack of a better way, like panhandling and things of that nature, it's I don't want my kids to become so hardened as we can be, because we assume narratives upon people on why they're begging, or why they don't have money, or why they're homeless, or why they're, you know what I mean? And it's usually not gracious, or, you know, some lean towards that. Right. But I don't want those people to ever become invisible to my kids.
Yeah.
So I help my kids to see those needs.
Yeah.
And so whether that's every day of the year, but especially this time of year, we're pointing their eyes to people who are in need.
Yeah.
People in need. And it fits Christmas perfectly, because that's why Jesus came. He came to a people who are in great need, and he met the need. And it's in that we really learn what we really want, what we really should desire. And it points to what we're really made for. So just really cultivating our hearts. And it may not mean you get up and you go to the soup kitchen on Christmas morning or things like that, but really giving them the experience of meeting needs.
Yeah.
Meeting needs. But they have to first see them before they can ever learn how to meet them.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that what you just said just now, they have to first see them. You know, I think for us, it's been helpful to just kind of put our kids in positions where they see that, even if we're not directly involved with it. Like, we went to an event this past weekend where you could bring a toy for a toy drive kind of thing. And you could go to the event without doing that. But for my 5-year-old, standing next to the Christmas tree that they had in the middle of this parking lot and all these toys sitting around, and he's like, I want that toy. That dinosaur looks pretty cool. And having the conversation about how, well, that dinosaur's not for you. That's actually for a kid who maybe his parents have a hard time just putting Christmas together this year. You know, we don't know what his need is, but you know, it's really cool that all these people have come and given this stuff so that people who have a harder time can be blessed. In previous years, we've been a part of things like Operation Christmas Child. It seems like a great way to do that with, okay, well, why don't we go and shop together and pick out toys that you think a 5 to 7 year old girl would like? Or, but really, looking at it now, I think just at least putting our kids in position where questions can come up. Because I think I underestimate at times how good at asking questions my kids are and how curious
they're excellent. Yep, they're naturally curious. You know what I mean? And so we'll be at a party this Friday, and part of the deal is to come to the party, you need to bring a pair of shoes. And because somebody needs shoes. But our kids, they don't see their shoes as this is a gift.
Yeah.
It's just an expectation. I'm going to have shoes because I wear shoes to school and I wear shoes to play, and we have different kinds of shoes for different kinds of things. This actually is for a kid to have something just to cover their feet. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so again, those things can become tools to really just shape the heart, point our kids to the way that they should be thinking about what they do have. We're blessed people. We have stuff. We should be grateful with little or lots. It should still cultivate just a heart of gratitude to be grateful. So that's where it is for me. And our kids aren't going to completely get that, and I think it's okay. Mm-hmm. Use the disappointed, pouty tongue, lip poking out because they didn't get what they want as a great opportunity to point them to Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, but as much as you can get them something they really want, I mean, let's make it happen, people. Let's try to make it happen. But again, we have the opportunity to set the expectations on some level.
So, Bruce, this being a Christmas episode, and, before we go, I just would love to ask, what's one thing that you are looking forward to in this Christmas season with your family? Is it a tradition? Is it an event coming up? What's one thing that you guys are excited for?
Man, I love Christmas morning. We do our gift stuff in the morning. Our kids are up before us. They're up. Yeah, they're up before us, and I love to see their excitement and anticipation. It's really about for me, selfishly, I guess you could say on something like, I just want to see the look on their face. Mm-hmm. And when that morning comes, to see the joy in their face, and that in some way the Lord could use us as a means, to give them that joy. I look forward to Christmas morning. That's one reason why we don't travel. We traveled, early on when the kids were little, but after our kids reached a certain age, it was just important to us that our kids would wake up at home on Christmas.
Yeah.
And I know that's not everyone's tradition, but it was important to us so that because I want them to wake up in our home, and all the stuff that we have in our house has been pointing to a moment. I want to really kind of reap that on that morning in our home. So I really look forward. That's what I look forward to. And then the day after, we hit the road. But
fun.
Christmas is us leaning in as a family and just enjoying each other. So that's what I look forward to the most, that morning, capturing that moment, and then enjoying all the stuff that we got them, and we get to play all day. So that's fun.
Mm-hmm. That's fun.
What about you?
Man, for me, I'm probably right there with you. I mean, just the traditional, like I said, we have cinnamon rolls in the morning for breakfast, and the gift time, and even just not even related to my kids, but just seeing my wife open her gifts is really fun too. And she's a better gift giver than I am, and so it's fun to kind of see how close I can get.
Gotcha.
In that game.
Yeah.
So that's fun too.
Man, I do. Before we jump off of here, I think it's important. The preparation time is to help to really, when we get to the point of celebration, we can actually enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
All right. We can just, I don't want to run around on Christmas Day and make it stressful. Okay.
So looking for the double A's and
for real. I mean, so, get your batteries now. So, if you're getting some technology, for Christmas, mm-hmm. if this is the year for the phone or for the tablet or for the gaming system, I would right now get that thing in hand, we have a parent resource page that has some helps on there for that, but I would get that in hand and I would start going ahead and getting on the same page on this is how we're going to use this thing. Go ahead and power that bad boy up, get all the parental controls and all the settings, download the apps that you need, get it all set up, have the parameters set, then put that bad boy back in the box, wrap it. No one's going to be upset about it. But so that when Christmas morning happens, you're not pulling out instructions and having to go through, all the, well, we'll see how we're going to use this. We'll see have the plan.
Yep.
So when they pull it out and they're excited about it, plug that bad boy in and it's ready to rock and roll.
Yep.
And they can enjoy it that morning. So I would do that work now, get it ready so that as a parent, your mind is freed because you already know the plan on how those things are going to be used, and you can use that as an opportunity to lean in, have a relationship, and say, hey, this is our plan for these things. So if you're introducing tech to the family this year, or there's some upgrade, I would get those things in place now, and that way you can, that's why we'll be up probably putting together something the night before and all that good stuff. So anyway, but I think it's just a helpful kind of a tip, if you will. Just knock that stuff out now. That way it's plug and play. You're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, well, like we've talked about today, Christmas is a really exciting time. There can be some stressors with it, but parents, we just want to encourage you, have a plan in place and be intentional with this season, with just establishing traditions and experiences, and really ultimately, we want to encourage you to cultivate relationships in your family this year. And I want to encourage you, if you're local to the Tampa area, we would love to have you come out to some of the Christmas events we have coming up here at Bell Shoals. You can go to bellshoals.com/Christmas to see what's going on. Some of that's going to be online too. So if you're not local, you can catch some of that stuff. And hey, if you would like to connect with us, maybe you'd want to get that parent resource page that Bruce is talking about here. We would love to connect with you. You can text the words Bell Shoals to 77411. And, again, because the reason we do this podcast, the reason we do any of this is we want to set you up to win. We want to set parents up for success in their homes. So we're so grateful that you chose to join us today. This has been the Along the Way podcast, and we'll catch you next time along the way.
All right. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody. There you go.